Right, here are all of the best and most accessible champions you can be getting your hands on for the Undead Hordes faction crypts. We're going to be covering uncommons, rares, and epics with no void champs. We're going to keep this as accessible as possible, right? So if you're a beginner player, you're just getting started in raid, you have a decent idea of what kind of champs you might want to be holding on to help you out in the Undead Hordes crypts when the time comes. Does that mean that you should be maxing out every champ that we cover in this video? Well, probably not, right? A lot of them are fine to be taken to level 50 and then kind of upgraded at a later stage. So let's start with the uncommons. Yeah, you don't want any of these. Forget about them. As a quick warning, some of these picks I'm going to kind of blast through and not pay much attention to. Some of them we're going to really double down on that I would consider to be S tier champions to be holding on to for the Undead Hordes. First off, we've got Banshee. We're just going to breeze over Banshee. She's not bad. She's mainly good because she has an attack all on the A1, which also applies a decreased defense debuff. She's also got another attack all on the A2 and then a multi-hitter on the A3. And she brings block active skills, weak version of decreased defense, and the chance of peeling buffs off of enemy targets. Pretty solid in a stun set, right? You can use her for wave control and that kind of thing. The issue with Banshee is that she doesn't really fit into many other areas of the game. She's fine to hold on to if you're really desperate for some control in your Undead Hordes faction wars, but I'd consider her to be quite low priority. Frozen Banshee, you're almost definitely going to be building Frozen Banshee. Her damage is going to be quite helpful against the faction wars bosses, and let's be real, if you're an early game account and you pull a Frozen Banshee, you're probably leveling her anywhere for Clan Boss, right? She does very good damage to Clan Boss, of course, applies poison sensitivity debuff. Yeah, she's just all in all a very good single target rare. Kind of the same thing with Grave Chill. If you have no poisoners and like you didn't pick Kill as your starter, you can go Frozen Banshee Grave Chill as a kind of combo as your damage dealers in Clan Boss. It can work pretty good, but Grave Chill definitely has slightly less application in other areas of the game, so there is that to consider. Frozen Banshee definitely much higher priority. Next up, we've got Grinner, and Grinner is one that we're going to spotlight right away. He is one of the very few only rare reviver champs in the game, and of course revives in faction wars are premium because you need to end every faction wars stage with all of your team alive in order to earn 3 stars on a faction wars stage and work your way towards Lydia. And so Grinner can actually be a very nice budget option when it comes to having a reviver for Undead Hordes. Now Grinner does have the problem of being a bit useless everywhere else, so we'll just give a quick breakdown of his kit. Attacks one enemy, has a chance of placing increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. It's a very low proc chance, but hell, if you can get this off, it can be pretty saucy. The A2, it's an attack all with a low chance, albeit you can book this up to a 50% chance of removing 1 random buff from each target. Not bad in arena, by the way, especially when combined with the revive, right? So he brings the revive, he brings a little bit of buff peel. Not bad in arena. The A3 is, of course, the revive itself. Revives 1 ally with 50% HP, places a shield buff on the revived champion for 2 turns, equal to 20% of their max HP, bookable down to a 4-turn cooldown. Really not bad. So even though you won't be using him in many places, I feel like for sure Grinner is worth kind of spamming copies into and just maxing out his skills slowly over time, and then when you're ready to make a big push in faction wars, yeah, get your Grinner up to like a level 50. And hell, some people end up actually maxing them out to clear their faction wars, but Grinner is the first real spotlight champ on this list. And to be honest, the rest of the rares are a little bit crap. Ghoulish Ranger, like a rare HP burner. Kinda trash though. Let's just move on up to the epics, to be honest. And again, yeah, obviously there's some decent void rares here as well, but I'm not going to focus on these too much. We've got Doomscreech, we've got Seducer. Yeah, obviously 2 very good void rares. And I'm sure there's other decent ones sprinkled in there as well, but we're not going to spotlight those. We're going to keep this maximally accessible. So first amongst the epics, we actually have Gorgorab, and this is another S tier epic for the Undead Hordes faction. Almost certainly a free level 60, right? You're going to be maxing this guy. So Gorgorab is one of those epics that's just sort of good everywhere for progression, right? That's why you're just going to be maxing him out if you pull him relatively early on your account. He's also just a direct upgrade to Grinner, bringing a team-wide revive, and we're just going to kick things off with that with his A3. Revives any dead allies with 25% HP, then heals all allies by 25%, and the heal will happen even if nobody is dead. So pretty solid, bookable down to a 5-turn cooldown. Quite nice, man. On the A1, he brings attack 1 enemy with a chance of removing 1 random buff, and on the A2, he brings some 10 meter fill and strong version of increased attack buff. Very juicy and saucy indeed. Gorgorab, definitely gonna be a 60. Well, I say definitely. Unless there's like a better legendary alternative on your account, of course. And hey man, quick promo link to help you all out with the current Dungeon Divers event. Go ahead and enter code GameLoop to get your hands on 10 free experience brews, a free energy refill, and 100,000 silver. It also helps to support the channel too, man, so make sure to pass it around your clanmates and, yeah. Help your brothers in arms out. Next champion along, we have ourselves Seeker, and Seeker is obviously also great as well. Very, very good in the arena. He's got a double hitter on the A1 with a 25% chance of placing Provoke debuff for 1 turn. Pretty solid, buckable up to a 50% chance. On the A2, he brings crazy 10 meter fill at a 30% fill and a 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. Then he grants that extra turn. And on his passive, heal this champion by 20% of his max HP and 60% increased defense buff on all allies if he gets clipped with a crit. Seeker is obviously mostly useful in the arena, right? Just for that crazy 10 meter boost and just a very, very solid opener on your teams. But he can do a job for you in faction wars as well. Not quite S tier like good old Gorgorab. If you're lacking damage, Catacomb Counselor can be a good option as well. Epic attack champion does some reasonable damage on his hits, a couple of multi-hitters, stuff like that. Most importantly though, brings an ally attack on his A3, teams up with 3 random allies to attack a single enemy. The allies joining the attack will use their blah blah blah. Bookable down to a 4 turn. Not bad, not bad. Dark Aethel, completely skip. Dark Elhain, however, being a free champ, particularly awesome. It's kind of like your S tier or like going to be your go-to Undead Hordes nuker. And the reason Dark Elhain is just far superior to Dark Aethel is that Dark Elhain actually just brings a lot of utility into other areas of the game, whereas Dark Aethel, she's kind of just average everywhere. Maybe even below average according to some people's estimations, but Dark Elhain actually brings a lot of like anti-freeze effects, right? Instantly removes any freeze buffs on this champion, replace them with crit rate buffs and increased damage buffs, and a strengthen buff whenever an enemy places a freeze debuff on this champ. Insanely good. Fills at 10 meter and instantly uses a A2 whenever this champion or an ally receives freeze, so Ice Golem, even certain arena teams and stuff like that, Dark Elhain can get a lot done, or at least certainly a lot more done than what Dark Aethel can get done. And of course, yeah, on her A2, it's very good. She brings her own increased attack buff on this champ, then attacks all enemies, has a chance of placing decreased speed debuff for a couple of turns, so you don't even have to bring the increased attack if Dark Elhain is going to be doing the bulk of your damage, because she's got it herself. And what's more, she's totally free to acquire, so that's always lovely as well when those login reward champs actually find some good value over time. Next up, we've got Husk, and he is pretty damn solid into faction wars. However, his A2, dude, this thing smacks specifically against Hydra, right? It's an attack all enemies with a chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. Just excellent, by the way, into faction wars, of course, but damage inflicted is proportional to enemy max HP, meaning, bro, this guy, I mean, he slaps, right? And it's really all for this A2 that you're going to be running Husk into Hydra at a later date, so he's a very safe champ to just max up to 60 without a care in the world, you know, if you pull him very early on your account and you're just getting started. Husk is a great one to max up for multiple areas of the game. Will say as well that is A3. Dude, more often than not, you're going to end up just disabling the A3 completely and just put him in like a reflex set so that he's just reducing the cooldown on this A2 and spamming it as much as humanly possible. Great into Hydra, great into Faction Wars, great into Spider even, just for that max HP damage. Yeah, Husk is definitely one of our S tier spotlighted epics in this video. Karam we're gonna skip. Some people swear by Lich, say that he's good. Brings a little bit of 10 meter control, I think, but I don't know, man. That's about all he does. Hexia's gonna be a skip. Defiled Sinner probably gonna be a skip. Corpse. I'm trying to spotlight champs that are gonna be useful in faction wars and at least a couple of other areas of the game. Maybe I'm sleeping on some of these, man. If you feel I miss any champs in these videos, any epics that you really swear by that other people maybe don't look to so much for things like faction wars and whatever, then make sure to mention it down below, man. I'm probably missing 1 or 2, but Defiled Sinner, Corpse Collector's worth. Or at least, she's not the worst. I think she's one of those that you've got to pull very early in order to make her work, right? She brings a triple hit on the A3 with each hit having a chance of placing poison, so you can get up a triple poison on a 4-turn cooldown. On her A3, not bad. On the A2, it's an attack all enemies with a chance of placing heal reduction debuff and decreased accuracy. Also kind of not bad. The A1, also brings Leech. So hell, she's decent into Clan Boss, she's decent into Dragon. Her kit, like, I think the issue with Corpse Collector is that her kit is kind of just very, very middling. She does like a lot of slightly different things, and maybe the variety is fine in the team that you're looking for Faction Wars. Is she an automatic 60? Definitely not. But I tell you who is an automatic 60, it's the next man along, the bald fraud himself, except he's not a fraud. It's the Mausoleum Mage. Dude, this guy, is this like the best Undead Hordes epic in the game? I mean, look at those goddamn saucy ratings, dude. He does pretty damn well in a lot of different areas, right? The A1 attacks one enemy, chance of placing decreased speed. Not bad. The A2 brings increased crit rate and increased defense buffs on all allies for 2 turns. Also places a block debuffs buff on allies for 1 turn, so he's bringing a lot of sauce with the A2. Increased crit rate is also very, very valuable in Faction Wars because, let's be real, when you're like in the early days of your account, you're not going to have all of these Faction Wars champs, these Faction Wars specialists, if you will, built out perfectly, or at least it's quite unlikely. So just having this buff in your back pocket makes it so that you can nudge a lot of your guys towards 100% crit without overcapping and stuff, because the gear is probably not going to be optimal, you know? So it's very, very valuable stuff. Now, on the A3, remove all debuffs from all allies, then heals all allies by 10% of this champ's max HP. So just build him to be a bit of a juggernaut. Heals each ally by a further 10% if 1 or more debuffs are removed from that ally. Then fills each ally's turn meter by 15% if 2 or more debuffs are removed. The heal is grand for Faction Wars, but this kind of debuff removal, just removing everything and then providing 10 meter fill on top of that, dude, has so many uses in so many different areas of the game. Mausoleum Mage, almost certainly going to be a 60. Very, very good indeed. Next up, we've got Zealotar, and while he's not, I don't think, like mega high priority to sort of max up, he can be very, very helpful into Arena, especially in the earlier days, mostly because of the amount of control that he brings, right? He brings a shield and a continuous heal on the A2, as well as an attack all with a chance of placing sleep on the A3. Very, very nice into Arena, man. Good guy to have in your back pocket. That's for sure. And so, yeah, also great for Faction Wars as well, just for some general survivability. We've got Vorgoth. This is another guy that you almost certainly want to be taking up. Vorgoth, very, very, very solid epic provoker with a 3-turn cooldown, AoE provoke on the A3. It's not 100% chance to apply the debuff, but it's 75%. Not bad. Also has a 60% chance of placing a decreased attack debuff on all targets who receive the provoke debuff from this skill. Very, very good. And of course, when he takes attacks in from all of the geeks that he has provoked, he heals your entire team. So yeah, Vorgoth, very, very good indeed. Almost certainly a guaranteed 60. Balthus we're gonna skip, and Anax comes in last. Anax, probably also worth taking up. Depends where your account is, I suppose, but this is a guy who is fantastic into Clan Boss. Very, very good indeed. On the A1, he's got a double hitter with each hit having a chance of placing decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. Quite reliable, given that it's each hit. On the A2, it's an attack one enemy 2 times, with each hit having a 100% chance bugged of placing decreased accuracy and poison for 3 turns. Just amazingly, excellently awesome. And on the A3, attacks one enemy, has a chance of placing strong weaken. And also he's this champion for the damage inflicted. So he just brings so many key debuffs against Clan Boss that are, yeah. Anax, if you pull him early, he's a guaranteed 60 as well. And you know what? He'll also help you out with the boss killing duties in Faction Wars as well. So honestly, quite a lot of very, very solid epics for the Undead Hordes. I just happen to have none of them apart from the completely free-to-play ones. So that sucks a little bit. And that's about gonna do it, man. I put a lot of disrespect in the rares in this video, so with those in particular, do you feel like I missed any? Again, I was kind of trying to ignore the void rares as much as I could. I just want to keep this mostly for players who are in like the first, 6 to 8 months of their account or something, and they're starting to think about what kind of champs they want to be holding on to, vaulting up and things like that for future use in Faction Wars. And hell, at least I've got a grinner on my account. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all did enjoy. If you're looking to start off a new Raid Shadow Legends account, make sure to do so by clicking on the promo link down below at the top of the goddamn video description. Doing so will start off your new account with a free epic champion in the form of Juliana. And there she is in all of her glory. You'll also start off your new account with a whole bunch of starting freebies as well, including silver, chickens, all of that good stuff, man. For now, do enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm going to catch all of you guys just a tad bit later, man.